Palmer's still a fantastic player, but he's clearly going through it right now a little bit. And also, we set massive expectations for him when we see him score all of these goals. Every player is going to have a little rut, but now his rut is also really contributing to what Chelsea's poor form is right now, because if he's not performing, it's very difficult for this club to find a lot of goals.
Enzo Maresca was getting a lot of plaudits early in the season because this Chelsea side were flying 16 matches into the campaign, 10-4-2. Yeah. The wheels have kind of come off for this Chelsea side ever since then. 2, 3, and 4, just 9 points out of those 9 matches. And it's just, they've got some injuries. Stop me if you've heard that, by the way. Just about everybody in the Premiership is dealing with injuries right now. But what's going wrong with Chelsea?
I think Enzo Maresca kind of prepared us for this as well. I mean, so many times this season he said, you know, when they were doing well, when they were near the top of the table early in the season, he was just saying, you know, let's hold the brakes. This is a very young team. He doesn't consider them title contenders when everyone else was trying to make them title contenders in the media. The injuries are always going to be a huge issue, and that's going to happen to every team. So they clearly don't have enough positive replacements to be able to replace Nico Jackson in attack. And now in this game as well, they had Noni Madueke comes off injured again. So it's something to really kind of look at for this Chelsea side. But look, this is a very, very young team that is still developing, and I still think that it's an overall positive season for Chelsea. Compared to where they were last year, you see them moving in the right direction, but the youth and the inexperience is going to play a part when you have such good teams in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, it's also about expectations, right? Because they kind of shifted expectations by getting off to that great start this season. When you say heading in the right direction, that's almost maybe in a big picture standpoint, because here recently, obviously, things are not going well for this Chelsea side. So we'll see how it continues down the stretch in this season. For a Brighton Hove Albion side, though, you mentioned youth for Chelsea. It's a young side, a young manager. They hit a little bit of a stumbling block here not long ago, but they look like they've regained their footing with a couple of big results against Chelsea in the span of 1 week.
The difference between the youth of Brighton is that this is a club that plays a lot of young players and has always played a lot of young players. So some of the guys like Matoma and some other have been playing from a very young age now for quite some time, and they're a club that continues to replenish with young players. Fabian Hürzeler is a fantastic manager. There's been a lot of hype about him this season. Obviously, like you mentioned, they did kind of a little dip in form, but the team is responding. They're figuring out ways to start to play better. And look, Brighton, when they're on their game, it's an extremely fun team to watch. I mean, we saw it today. Just continuing to just put it on Chelsea, continuing to pressure, push them back almost into their own net, and be able to continue to play. Here's the starting 11 from today. Matoma, Minte, all these young players. Baleba, Lamptey, he's a player who's been around and played a ton of football for this club. Still very young. Veltman, the same thing. So it is a team that is, obviously you have Danny Welbeck there, is a veteran, so you do need a little bit of that mixture. But it's a team that has gotten used to playing now under Fabian Hürzeler's system and is starting to find that success. It's fun to watch. They're fun to watch, man.
I'll tell you what, we talk systems, we talk tactics. Verbruggen had an assist in this game that traveled a good 80 yards in the air. And I just want to come back to it because I'm as big of a fan of the 23-pass goal as anybody else. But sometimes we can kind of poo-poo Route 1 football. Matoma's first touch, his second touch, his third touch, and then the fourth touch, which was the shot, were all impeccable. It was a work of art, that first goal from Brighton Hove Albion.
Fantastic goal. We said it right away when we saw it. We're like, oh, wow, that's incredible. The way he's able to control that ball and all in one motion, take his next 2 touches to give him the opportunity to take that shot. And it's what we mentioned as well. Tactics, we can talk tactics all we want. We can say that, you know, it's important to play and find your ways and pass your way into the box. The best way to still break down a defense is being able to take one player, take a defender one-on-one, like we saw Matoma do there. Just have the perfect 4 touches, boom, goal. And like you mentioned, we want to talk about tactics all we want, but if you still have a player that can do that, you can throw those tactics out the window because that will break down a defense better than anything else you could do.
And we were talking about the young players for Brighton. It also helps to have some seasoned veterans that have been around the league for a while. Danny Welbeck had 2 assists in this game. Very unselfish play inside the penalty area as well from him. And I just wonder what a player like, you know, he's been through his ups and downs in his Premier League career and the different stops that he's had. To have a veteran like that around some of that young talent, I wonder what you feel that does for this Brighton Hove Albion side.
Without a doubt. It benefits when you have a player who's kind of seen it all at this point in the Premier League, and finds himself in a club now where he is the elder statesman, where he is the leader, the motivator for this club. And you're seeing it with the way he plays. He's unselfish, trying to put his other guys in the best positions to attack and score goals. And you're seeing it week in and week out with Danny Welbeck. Whether he has great games or not, he's still impacting the game, and he's still impacting, most importantly, all of the young players that are at this club that continue to grow. And look, I think there's aspirations for this Brighton side in the next year or two if they are able to keep a lot of those players. So it'll be interesting to watch. But like I said, right now this team is on fire, and they're fun to watch.
I'm looking at the numbers of this game, though, Stefano, and back to the Chelsea side of things. 70% of the ball, they didn't muster a single shot on target. Now, we know we had the goal that got disallowed because of the push in the back. But for a Chelsea side that looked so exciting in the attack earlier in the season, what does Maresca need to get out of these guys to get back to where they can be a little bit more dynamic? Because 0 shots with 70% possession, that just doesn't get it done.
I mean, first off, they need to get some of their players back, right? Yeah. They need to get some of their guys healthy and back in the lineup.
But you got Cole Palmer out there. He had a couple opportunities in this game that he put in the stands.
He did. And Cole Palmer, I think, again, I think we got spoiled just of how good he can be, but he's still a very young player, and I won't say he's figured out or that other teams have figured him out, but they have realized that if they can stop Cole Palmer in the attack, not so much in the box, but in the build-up, if they can put a body on him physically, being able to knock him off the ball, it's going to affect his game in the long run. And you saw that today because they were physical with him, and he was trying to build up in the midfield. He was getting booted off the ball with the elbow, with the shoulder, and then when he did get opportunities to shoot, would blow it over the bar, not put it on target. So Cole Palmer's still a fantastic player, but he's clearly going through it right now a little bit. And also, we set massive expectations for him when we see him score all of these goals. Every player is going to have a little rut, but now his rut is also really contributing to what Chelsea's poor form is right now, because if he's not performing, it's very difficult for this club to find a lot of goals.
I mentioned Verbruggen with the assist there. Just a couple of nuggets on that. Second Brighton Hove goalkeeper with an EPL assist ever. So, that's just an interesting little nugget there. But how things have changed for Chelsea from the start of the season to now. They've hit a stumbling block. They get knocked off by Brighton Hove Albion in 2 different competitions in the span of 1 week.